Episode 9 predictions. I tried to go on cue. This is going to be one crazy little week of Survivor. After this week, we'll finally be down to half of the cast. We'll finally be halfway through. But this should be a pretty exciting episode. The preview for this week was even very vague and didn't really give too much about who's really on the chopping block. They try to play up Jeremy, but I'm just not completely buying that this time around. I don't think, I think that's just kind of like they're trying to give you a red herring, and I don't think that's what it's going to be this week. I don't think Jeremy's in that much trouble, but this is going to be interesting because I don't know where any alliances still stand.
Well, in the weekend preview, Jeremy says, I need to find this idol because they're coming after me. But he already has an idol. So if he really feels like he's on the bottom, he can play his idol. He doesn't really need another one. Of course, having 2 idols is nice. But it's crazy how you say we're about to be halfway through the season when we're sitting here predicting episode 9. And most seasons are, between 13 and 15 episodes. So we are way more halfway done with, the show episode-wise. But cast-wise, not cast-wise.
Yeah.
We're not there yet. And a double boot's going to happen at some point. Probably not this week because it seems like there's a lot going on, but it should happen pretty soon.
The rumor is next week, next Wednesday, supposedly there's a 2-hour blocked off for Survivor, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. So that's kind of crazy to me that they would put it the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, but it seems like that's where it's been blocked off. And back to Jeremy already having an idol and saying, I need to find this. Maybe he lost his. Maybe he forgets where he buried it. That would be hysterical.
No, they give you your idol. He's been up at the Bayonne Beach the whole time. But if you do have a tribe swap and your idol was buried.
Oh, yeah, I know. I'm just saying maybe he lost it anyway.
Yeah, they could. I doubt it, though. Jeremy's too. He's been at that beach. He knows that beach well. He knows the camp well.
Yeah, you would hope. So I think the double boot's going to be next week. So this week should probably be crazy. Hopefully it doesn't mean next week's a boring week. They were just going to have to do it at some point. And normally
it makes sense. It makes sense that it's on Thanksgiving because that's when other shows usually take a break because people are traveling. That's like Wednesday. It's the biggest travel day ever. And so they can get that extra hour because another show is taking an hour off, or 2 half-hour shows are taking an hour off. So that makes sense. I'm just worried about, I'm going to be on vacation with family that I never get to see. They're going to give me so much crap for saying I need to watch 2 hours of Survivor and then podcast for an hour and a half after. That's just 3.5 hours of me not being with, these people I see, once a year at Thanksgiving, my cousins and aunts and stuff. So that'll be tough to explain, But you're going to have to do it, Willie. You're going to have to do it. That's what I'm saying, though, in terms of it being weird. Wait, were you just saying something, or were you just pretending? No.
Oh, I don't know why you're doing that. That's what I'm saying about it being weird, though. I feel like to put 2 hours of Survivor the night before Thanksgiving is like asking so much of the viewers. Make sure you're there for 2 hours the night before. I'm curious to see how the ratings on the show actually do, especially since I doubt people are going to be watching the DVR versions on Thanksgiving Day when, you're with family and stuff. So I don't know how the numbers are going to be here. This is kind of interesting. It's completely out of our range of things to talk about, but it's going to be interesting.
I think we can talk about this, and it is interesting. We're definitely going to get into power rankings soon, but if next week's a double, it's not a double boot. If it's 2 hours, 2 full episodes, this is the only time they can do it. Unless you don't want it going into Christmas, that's the worst. So this, I think it makes sense because a lot of people watch Survivor either on their DVR or on demand or through, some streaming service or CBS All Access, or, there's so many ways to watch it, or you can pirate it. So I'm not surprised here at all. Less than, fewer people are watching live TV. So I know we do every week, but not everybody else does.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, the Survivor ratings are very consistent, and it is based on, I'm pretty sure, just Wednesday night and Thursday during the day. So it's going to be interesting to see how well it actually does, especially with 2 hours. 2 hours is a lot. So I'm curious to see if, the first hour is really good and the second hour just tapers off. And like you said, a lot of people are traveling that day. I don't know. That'll be interesting. We'll be watching it. And, yeah, you have no excuse. You're going to have to let all your family members enjoy watching Survivor. It can be like a huge Will family bash to watch 2 hours of Survivor. And then they can all listen to your podcast live and heckle and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. This is going to be a tough one, Phil. we'll see. We might have to do the East Coast version, the stream. Just because I have probably plans at night. We'll figure it out. Let's get into the power rankings here. This is tough because, as we've heard from Steven and Jeff Probst the last 2 episodes, maybe everything is changing the way this game is played. Maybe there aren't alliances. Maybe you're going to have vote with one group one week, not vote with them the next week, and then maybe hop right back to them. So this is very difficult, especially after an idle play, taking out such a big player in Savage who was in such control. Things can go any way here.
Yeah, I think that this is going to be – Jeff Probst has been saying, like, for a long time that this season might shape the way Survivor's played from here on out. And, like, he's been saying that in outside-the-game interviews. So I kind of agree with you on that. I'm thinking that we're not going to get normal alliances this entire season, which is going to keep us really on our toes. Because when I'm trying to do these power rankings, I'm always thinking, well, this is the alliance and this is the alliance. I don't feel like there are alliances here, and they are playing it up, like you said. Steven and Jeff both mentioned it in the last 2 episodes. So there's going to be something like unorthodox going on here.
Right, and this is what makes the power rankings so hard. And, man, at number 1, I got to go Keith here.
Wow.
Back to Keith. Keith has been my savior. I mean, he's always my safe go-to number 1 guy because there's no reason to take him out, especially when everyone's fighting for numbers right now. He goes where the wind blows. He'll go with the majority. He's not going to, stir anything up. We hear Steven in the preview say he wants to take out a threat. He wants to take out, someone, make a big move. And then people are hearing Steven say that. So maybe people want to take out Steven. And then you have the three amigas on the bottom who you could take out as well. So there's so many options to, target on. I don't think Keith is going this week.
See, we did say in the recap episode that this was the week we thought that there might be one of these kind of useless players who go, such as Wigglesworth or Keith or Kimmy, just, less screen time, don't really have a chance to win. This might be the week one of them go. I kind of agree with you. I don't think it's going to be Keith. But
the double,
I don't know, man.
The double boot lends me to believe that's going to be next week. That will get Kelly, Kimmy, or Keith going in the first episode of next week. That's what I think.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, who knows? I mean, that very well could be the case. Either way, this week, I'm going number 1 also as my eliminator pick. I'm going Jeremy. I know in the preview he said they're coming for me, but he has the idol. And if he already knows they're coming for him, then he will play the idol. So I'm using him as my eliminator pick, and I'm putting him at number 1. I don't think Jeremy goes this week. He's the only one I feel completely safe putting at number 1. Everybody else, there's a pretty good reason to get rid of them. Even the people who might not seem like endgame threats, there's just too much going on right now with these alliances that don't exist to really say, man, Wigglesworth, we should just keep her around. She's a non-entity. It's like, well, maybe she's just going to be a number for somebody else, and you have the chance to get rid of her this week. Like, that's how people are going to have to start thinking. I think the only alliance we have right now, 100% certain, is we have the 3 people of Sierra, Kelly Wentworth, and Abby. And on the other side, we have Jeremy, Steven, and Tasha. And even Steven might be defecting on that. So I really think that there's only one definite alliance, and that's those 3 girls.
Right, and they were at the bottom last week, so you can't even give that much credit saying they're in a good spot because they have people they can trust. I agree with you. Jeremy, though, it would be, it would make so much kind of sense for his edit and story for him to get blindsided again. Like, it could easily happen because he is not changing his game that much. He's playing a very similar game. He's getting a very similar edit that he did in San Juan del Sur. So for him to get blindsided with Iola's pocket, man, could happen.
Maybe. I just don't think so. I think that he's going to be able to sniff it out just like Wentworth did last week. I think that they know. I think they can kind of get a feel of people. I don't think Steven's as sneaky as Steven thinks he is. I think Steven's a really great strategist, but I don't think that he's as sneaky as he thinks. I think people realize what he's trying to do. So if Steven were to try to turn it on Jeremy, I think Jeremy would feel it coming. I think he would see it coming and be like, Steven's kind of being a little flaky because I think Steven's just a little awkward anyway. So I think Jeremy will know if it's his time or if people are coming after him. Just one quick thing one more time. Oh, go ahead.
Wait, one more thing. If he can sense when this is maybe a bad argument for this, but last week wouldn't have been so easy for Kelly, Sierra, and Abby to write Jeremy?
It really would have. And I'm starting to think that Jeremy not knew that they had an idol, but I'm starting to think Jeremy knew that they were voting Savage. I think that he might have known, like they might have said something to him, or he might have just figured out like, hey, Sierra's just going to write down Savage's name. I don't think Jeremy felt like he was in danger. I mean, people were asking him all over Twitter, why did you not play the idol? And he's like, I just couldn't do it. I don't think he felt the need to do it.
Right. I don't think it has anything to do with the votes for Savage. I think it has everything to do with everyone was 100% sure Kelly Wentworth didn't have an idol. There were secret scenes about it. Everyone was talking. There's no way she has an idol. There's no way. So I think he was so confident in that vote. And that's why they didn't split the vote. They were all so confident in it. So that's why he didn't play his idol. And that's what I'm saying. That could happen again.
They were confident in it, but they also said that they were afraid Joe and Keith were going to go with the girls had they split the vote and vote out Steven. That was like the biggest fear for that whole alliance. Like a bunch of them has said that. Jeremy said it. Savage said it. They were worried that Joe was trying to get Steven out because Steven wanted him out. And for some reason, they thought Keith was being fishy with it. And they thought that the two of them would defect and it would be 5-4-4, right? Or 5-4-3, whatever it would end up being. But the two of them would end up voting with the girls. Because of the split vote, they would have the numbers and they would get rid of Steven, which Jeremy did tweet out and say if he had to lose either Savage or Steven that night, he was happy he lost Savage.
Okay, that makes more sense. I still think that it was a huge overconfidence thing. It was a little bit both. But I mean, they all said it. They all said in their confessional, there's no way Kelly Wentworth has an idol. But I'm just thinking that could happen to Jeremy again. I have Kimmy at number 2, and I have Jeremy at number 3. So number 1 for someone who's that big of a threat is always going to be tough. I have Kimmy at number 2 just because I haven't seen it. If Kimmy is going to go home, we would have seen a little bit from her last week. And
we got a confessional from Kimmy, which scares me for her this week because we did get one.
I still don't know how. I don't know how the votes get to her, where they're like, let's just go Kimmy. I could be totally wrong here. I just don't feel like this is the Kimmy week. There's too many people on the bottom that could go, and then there's the big guns. Why would you target someone that is right in the middle?
Yeah, I mean, I have Kimmy at 3, so I totally get what you're saying here. I don't think Kimmy goes this week. I think you were spot on when you said that next week there's going to be the double boot, and if it's double boot, the first episode we're going to get rid of somebody that's really not important to this game so much. So I think you're spot on with that, and I think that Kimmy's going to be safe this week.
It could be 2 in a row too. That's
really
also possible.
Yeah, I agree with that. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, and they're going to be 2 full episodes. It's not like a premiere or anything where it's 2 hours or an hour and a half and one person goes. This is going to be 2 full episodes of Survivor, and they're going to air them out on one night because it's probably not going to be that exciting.
Yeah, it's pretty much what they do at Worlds Apart, but who knows? It might be exciting. It just might be they had nowhere else to put it. I mean, you don't want to do it too late in the game when you're down to like 6 or 7 people, because then that's kind of like, well, man, now we're getting less time from these people that we actually could actually win the game. They want to do it somewhat early. I'm surprised they didn't do it pre-merge, but at the same time, there was so much going on pre-merge that I totally get why they might have done it this way. Maybe it's a little bit boring, but they had to put it somewhere. Maybe they just felt this is the best time to do it.
Or maybe we're just completely off base here, and it has nothing to do with the excitement of the show. In Thanksgiving, other shows being canceled this week, that was the only scheduling time that allowed it to happen, and we could just be totally off base. I think we'll get a better sense of it once the numbers shake out in this week's episode, so we can kind of say, oh, okay, a boring episode, kind of, you can kind of foresee that for next week, but maybe it will. Maybe we'll just have exciting episodes like last episode to the end of the season. I mean, that's what I want.
That's what I want, and I'm starting to think it's going that way because I'm serious here right now. I have Spencer at number 2, which sounds insane, and I think it's insane
to put
Spencer. Okay, you have him at 4. So we both have Spencer so high, but I don't know where Spencer actually stands in this game. I cannot tell you who Spencer's number 1 ally is in this game. I don't know if he thinks it's Jeremy. I don't know if he's going to end up going towards Steven. I don't know if he's going to go with Wentworth and the girls. I don't know if he's near Joe. I have no idea where Spencer actually stands in this game. So to put him at number 2 is so insane when there's 11 people left in the game, And he's not – I don't even know who his number one ally is. I don't even know if he has an ally on the entire island.
It seems like him and Joe are talking a lot. Because from the merge, they were the two kind of swing votes in the middle that could decide things. And I think they still feel that way. That because Joe, like you said, they were fearing Joe and Keith were going to go over and vote with the girls. Maybe Spencer was a part of that too. And they're saying, wait, why is Spencer and Joe working together? So I think that's Spencer's closest ally is Joe. And yeah, maybe they're not super tight, but they're working together.
So do you think this week then that maybe we get like a Spencer, Joe, Wentworth, Sierra, Abby, Maria, and possibly a Steven who vote together as a block?
Or a Keith.
Or a
Keith
Keith?
Goes, it seems like Keith goes where Joe goes too.
Yeah. So do you think that could possibly – even Wigglesworth. I mean, I don't know where she stands now that Savage is gone. I don't know if her and Spencer were like at each other's throats or anything, but like who's going to be – could there be a sixth there? And we actually start to see the downfall of this Jeremy alliance, which I guess you can call an alliance. But, I mean, could like Wentworth and Sierra find themselves on top at least for this week?
Yeah, maybe. It wouldn't shock me at all. And this is why I don't have Jeremy number one, just because that could potentially happen. And, man, I'm trying to think about my Eliminator pick right now, and it's really tough because – the people on the bottom, we're thinking right now, it's pretty easy for them to climb out of it. People want, especially because Kelly Wentworth and Sierra are people that you really kind of want to work with if you want to make a big move, because they're also strategic thinkers, and that's all they want to do. Sierra says it every tribal, play the game, play to win, make a big move. So if you're Steven, who are you going to go talk to if you want to make a big move? It's going to be Sierra. It's going to be Kelly Wentworth, who just made a big move herself. So I think those girls are actually in pretty good position. But man, it wouldn't shock me if any of them went home.
Yeah, it's so hard because I don't know. I mean, I guess our top fours are the same, where we have the same people in our top four, just a different order. But I have Keith at 4. So we have Jeremy, Spencer, Kimmy, and Keith in our top 4. And there's really a good reason for any of them to go home. I mean, and you're not sitting here right now saying, well, if so-and-so doesn't win immunity, if Mike doesn't win immunity, he's definitely going home. And if Mike does win immunity, then it's definitely going to be Tyler. Like, you don't have that situation right now. You don't have that at all, which is making this super hard to rank and making me scared that you're actually going to beat me this year, because you seem to be picking up on the little randomness of this a little bit better than I am. I like when it's pretty obvious, and straightforward. You've beat me like the last 5 weeks in power rankings because it hasn't been straightforward. I don't like having to look too far into it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it comes down to edit reading, I think, when it's all mixed up. And you have to look at the narrative. And that's why this might sound crazy. I have Steven at number 5 because the edit points to him coming out on top against Joe. It has to.
I can't believe you have Steven at number 5, dude. That's crazy. That's really – I am really shocked. I mean, I'm not shocked because you like Steven more, but I'm shocked that you put him at 5. I think that's crazy high.
Okay, think about it. He's in the good alliance. Like, he's still with the majority, right? He's not on the bottom. So let's say the majority kind of stays tight and they vote out either Sierra, Abby, or Kelly Wentworth. That could happen, right? Yeah. Let's say a big, huge move is made. It's going to be Steven teaming up with the girls to get out Joe or Jeremy rather than Jeremy or Joe teaming up with the girls to get out Steven. I think Steven is way closer to Sierra and way closer to Wentworth than, like, Joe is. I mean, Joe and Sierra had their little thing, but if you can get Joe out, I mean, he already laid the groundwork for that last week. Tasha was on board. Jeremy said he's on board. So if Joe doesn't win immunity, I think it's like has to be Joe, just because that was going to happen last week. All the same people are there. The only person that went home was Savage, and he was the one person that said, no, I love Joe. I'm never, ever going to write his name down.
I would think that, but I think right now we're at too important of a point in this game where even if Joe loses, I don't think he's going to go because I think that he's playing both sides enough. And I think both sides kind of want Joe's vote more so than they want to get rid of him, because I think both sides think they can get Joe and get further into the game. Because if there are alliances right now, they're definitely not clear cut. And I think Joe is a valuable person to have in your alliance because he's always going to be a shield to get rid of before you.
Yeah, but when does that shield end? When you go, oh, wait a second, man, he just won those first two. let's take him out. And you know Steven is so gung-ho about it, and he's part of the majority. I mean, there's just so many good reasons to get rid of him. I mean, how does it get turned on Fishbach? Because we saw Jeremy last week defend Fishbach completely, like completely saved Fishbach. And Jeremy's still there.
The way I think it gets turned on Steven this week is if Steven keeps running around saying this, saying that, saying this, saying that, and somehow Joe can get with Jeremy and be like, Jeremy, look, like, why are we going to – everybody – like, Steven wants to get rid of me. He's trying to stir it up to get rid of me. Let's just get rid of Steven. And even if Jeremy doesn't want to do it, maybe Joe can get Sierra and Kelly Wentworth and something else and be like, hey, Steven is actually Jeremy's right-hand man. Let's get rid of Steven right now. Because I think that's a good argument right now because I think Steven is a lot closer to Jeremy than they're really showing to us. I mean, they're showing it to us, but I think him and Steven are like really, really tight right now.
Yeah, I think they are really tight. I also think Kimmy is close there. Tasha is close there. I don't know if Joe is in with them. I don't see Joe going up to Jeremy saying, let's get Fish out, because then that puts a target on Joe. You see what I mean? I don't think Joe and Jeremy are like all that tight.
So do you think, though, I mean, I know we talked about this last week, but there was never an answer anywhere. We thought that Joe was the one who tipped off Kelly Wentworth. Do you think that Joe tipped off Kelly Wentworth and maybe Kelly Wentworth, Joe, Sierra, Spencer, Abby, Maria, like, could that be an alliance here, though? Like I'm really feeling like that could be an alliance, and that could end up getting Steven out of the game, because then if they just need to pull in one more.
See, I think Keith is more likely to join them than Spencer. I think Spencer is actually pretty good with Jeremy. I know he said he's kind of been in the middle with Joe, but if you watch the secret scene where they talk about vote splitting, Spencer is like in that alliance. And I know we keep saying he doesn't have like a number one ally, like someone really tight, but I think because of that, when he was on the second iteration of the Bion tribe, he got in good with Jeremy. So I think they're pretty buddy-buddy. It fits whole Jeremy's mantra of keeping threats around. Spencer is a huge threat. You have to think Spencer and Steven get along. We said this the whole season. We said this pregame. Those two are going to get along if they're on the same tribe. We've seen really nothing of it, but you have to think they're at least, they're not gunning for each other yet. And then
it just seems like it would make sense. Yeah.
And then, so let's count this out. We have Jeremy, Spencer, Steven, Kimmy, Tasha, Kelly Wigglesworth. Kelly Wigglesworth is the only one.
Would Kelly Wigglesworth be the swing vote?
Right?
Would she be the swing vote? She could be the swing vote.
Right, and that's why I have her at number 6 in my power rankings. I don't know where have you gone your 5th one yet?
I haven't, but you can just keep going, give away everything. I like that.
I mean, Kelly Wigglesworth, I have Keith, Kimmy, and Kelly Wigglesworth in my top 3, pretty much because if for them to go home now, it just wouldn't make – there's too much talk of big moves, and there's too much talk of who's on bottom for it to be some middling character that we've seen nothing of. And I hope we get we get a good amount of one of them this week so that they can go home next week and go home, in the double boot after next week. Like, they're not providing that much entertainment. I do want them to go home, but this week I at least think they're safe.
Yeah, my biggest fear right now for Kelly Wigglesworth is with all of this idol drama, who's going to be the one person that you're not worried about having an idol? I think it's Kelly Wigglesworth. And I think that if you're trying to vote against an alliance that's been heavily looking for an idol and you don't have the idol in your possession, you might say, let's vote for Kelly Wigglesworth because I don't think she has the idol.
That's very true, but the way I think we kind of broke it down, Kelly Wigglesworth finds herself in she's in the middle, it seems like, because she was on the original Takeo tribe, and Abby and Kelly Wentworth are together. Those are original Takeo. Spencer is the only other one, but they don't seem to be getting along. I think she's getting pulled from, everywhere. So I think she's more likely to be a swing vote, and you never want to vote out the swing vote unless you can swing someone else. I don't know. Yeah, I can see her getting idled out, but I think 6th for her is fine. I don't think she's going to go.
I have her at 7, which is getting a little ahead, but I have Tasha at 5, which another one seems high, but I didn't know where to put Tasha. I feel like Tasha's okay here just because they might be gunning for her. People might try to get her out of the game, but I feel like there's just bigger people in her. I think that if they're going to look for somebody, maybe Jeremy, maybe Joe, maybe Kelly Wentworth. Like, I feel like there's more people to get rid of than Tasha. And even though Tasha might not be in the best position, I just feel like, God, she's in a very strange position. I don't know where she stands at all anymore. I used to know exactly where Tasha stood, and now we've kind of gotten less and less of Tasha, and I don't really know where she stands at all. I'm putting her at 5 just because I think we're going to get like a big exit from Tasha when she finally goes. Last week would not be setting up for a big exit. And then at 6, I have Abby Maria, and almost the same things I just said about Tasha. She's not the biggest threat. Yeah, if there's the idol that comes into play, it's the same situation as Kelly Wigglesworth. And Abby Maria, I don't know where she stands anymore. I used to know who her biggest alliance was. Now I know she's with Sierra and Kelly Wentworth, but I don't know anything else about her right now. We have not heard from her in 3 weeks, 3 glorious weeks. We have not heard from Abby Maria.
Yeah, I have Abby Maria at 7 because if you're going to target someone on the bottom, you're going to go Kelly Wentworth or Sierra, especially because now you're fairly certain neither of them have an idol at this point because Kelly just played one. It's likely someone in that majority. I mean, there's 9 of them. Or there's 8 of them now. One of them is likely going to get this idol at the challenge. We'll talk about the idol and what's going on with this advantage in the game and all that stuff. We'll get that down the road. Also, we didn't say this. Just be sure to comment. They're probably disabled because that's how Google works now. They disabled the live commenting. So comment on our last video if you want to get a comment in, or tweet at us at Phil_and_Will. Okay, back to the power rankings. How do you get that in there?
Yeah, that was good. I wanted to get that in there before, and then I completely forgot because we started talking about something else. I meant to say that too. Yeah, make sure you're commenting on the other video. So I guess you did 7 with Abby Maria. I did 7 with Wiggles. I'm going number 8. I'm going Kelly Wentworth. And I think they tried to get Kelly Wentworth out of the game last week. I think they were all voting Wentworth because they could catch her off guard. They figured everybody thought it was going to be Sierra. Maybe Sierra tries to play the idol if she possibly had one. Nobody thought Kelly Wentworth had one. They thought they were in the clear. They get rid of her. I think everybody mistook Kelly Wentworth this entire game for the typical Survivor blonde who's just out there, not really playing the game, satisfying people just by being their friend, and that's about it. I don't think anybody saw her as a huge strategist, and it bit them in the ass last week. I think they're going to be a little scared of her this week, but I also think she's nicer than Sierra. So they would rather keep her around than Sierra because Sierra's still bound to stir up more shit.
Yeah, I don't know about Kelly Wentworth here. It seemed like it from the secret scenes, because we talked about this last week. Why did they vote Wentworth and not Sierra? It seems if you know these two players, which one's more dangerous from their first season, the clear answer is Sierra. Why did they not vote for Sierra? It wasn't really, they never said anything about who's more likely to have an idol. That's not what it was. They said she's better at challenges and she's a jury threat. Like she's more of a threatening player right now, actually, is what they said about Sierra, or what they said about Wentworth. That's why they voted for her. Did you watch
Sierra's
those?
Very abrasive. I did not watch them. I probably should have, but I think the problem with Sierra right now is she's abrasive and she's rubbing them the wrong way. And they're thinking, oh, well, we can keep her around. Let's get rid of Wentworth maybe last week. But I think this week, now that the numbers are dwindling a little bit and it's starting to get to the point where like, you can see yourself getting voted out, I think they want to get rid of Sierra because it seems like Sierra is playing so much harder than Wentworth. Last week, Wentworth, she's proved she's playing incredibly hard. But I think they're just scared of Sierra being able to talk her way out of anything and talk somebody into voting somebody else out who's just a little bit dumber than she is. And that's all you need. And I think that it could very easily happen. I think they're going to be way more scared of Sierra than Kelly Wentworth.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're afraid of both of them right now, honestly. They're dangerous players and they're together. And I think this is why we have Abby both kind of pretty high in our rankings, even though she is, or appears to be on the bottom. It's because she's with 2 stud Survivor chicks. Like no one's targeting her.
Completely. I mean, yeah, if you vote out Abby Maria before you vote out Wentworth or Sierra, you've completely screwed yourself for no reason, especially post-merge. I mean, that just makes no sense. I mean, exactly. Kelly Wentworth and Sierra can totally turn this game around and get people to align with them. Abby Maria can't. So.
Right. Okay, you can go for your next. I kind of took the lead early on.
Yeah, but I just did my number 8. You haven't done your number 8.
I haven't done my number 8.
No, I did Wentworth at 8. Your last one was Abby Maria at 7.
Okay. I'm blanking here because I have my bottom 3, and I'm forgetting someone right now. I kind of need to work my way.
Have Sierra, Joe,
I have Tasha.
Tasha.
Yeah, I have Tasha at 8. I kind of fear for Tasha a little bit. I know we haven't seen that much of her post-merge, but she's the perfect player that's a huge threat Like, it would be great to take out Tasha. That's not a wasted vote. It wouldn't be like voting out Keith. It wouldn't be like voting out Wigglesworth or Kimmy. That's a big vote to get out Tasha. She's in that strong alliance, so that would still be a big move. And this is if, Joe wins immunity or word gets out that Jeremy has an idol, or Jeremy wins immunity and Joe is, goes to some voting block that wants to make a big move. Tasha is kind of, she's right. She's right there. She's like close enough to Jeremy where you kind of say, hey, look, let's take out his right-hand man. I know Steven's also kind of in that similar position, but Steven's been so much more proactive about taking out a big player. Tasha is a big player. I don't think it's her this week, but I can't have her as high as you have her at number 5.
Yeah, my whole Tasha thing is pretty much what you said. Your view on Steven is my view on Tasha. I have Steven at number 9. I think that, they could try to possibly take Steven out the same way you're saying you could take out Tasha. Yeah, Steven is one of the main people who's saying, let's take out a big threat. Let's take out a big threat. Let's take out a big threat. But maybe everybody just turns and says, Steven is the big threat. Let's get him out. He's not helping anybody. Maybe he tries to backstab Jeremy, or Jeremy feels like he's being backstabbed because, Steven really wants to take out this big threat in Joe. And Jeremy gets worried that Steven's going to try to take him out next. So I don't think Steven's going to go this week. I have him at number 9. I do think, though, that if a big player is going to go not named Joe, it's going to be Steven. Like, I think that, like, if they can actually turn this game, Wentworth, Sierra, if they can get the numbers, I think Steven's actually going to be the one who goes. I don't think he's going to work with them.
Right. No, that makes sense. It's too much about his edit. And I hear what you're saying totally. Steven, it looked like Steven was going home last week for a while. It really looked that way.
Yeah. Until Savage's name came up.
Again, it's too much this Joe-Steven feud that, Steven's going to have to win, I think. He really does, for the way the narrative is saying. I've said it enough in all the podcasts that he's changing his game and he's going to be rewarded for it. I don't think he's going to win, but I think the whole Joe-Jeremy thing has so much buildup at this point that for Steven to fail, it wouldn't be satisfying the way they've set it up.
Yeah,
I have Kelly.
I hear what you're saying. Go ahead.
I have Kelly Wentworth at 9. I could really see her going because her idol play was so big, and I think that's why she got so many confessionals at the premiere, because that idol was going to play such a huge role. We have seen a lot of strategy from her. She's getting a really positive edit, but now she's on the bottom. Has proven to be a threat. I said it last week. Now she's got something on her resume, and people that's in the back of people's heads. Oh my gosh, Kelly Wentworth can always point to that big move that got out of power player and Savage. That's threatening if you're up there in the final 3. So that's on people's minds. I still don't think she's in a bad spot as Sierra or Joe, but that's where I have her, number 9.
Yeah, that completely makes sense. I only have her one spot ahead of you. I don't know if you're going to have the same order here. I have Joe at 10 and Sierra at 11. I don't know if you went the opposite. Did you put Joe at 11?
Yeah, I have Joe at 11, Sierra at 10.
Okay. The reason I go Sierra at 11 is just because she definitely, at least coming into this episode, is on the wrong side of the numbers. I don't know where the numbers stand, but I know that there's a 3-person alliance of her, Wentworth, and Abby Maria, and they've proven to be threatening. And they're definitely in the minority. They voted 9-3 last week. 9-3. Like, Kelly Wentworth set the record for most votes that do not count last week. So there's a definite division there. She could turn it around, but that's why I put her behind Joe. I do fear that if Joe doesn't win immunity this week, they'll just vote him out, especially since Steven is so hard about getting him out. And we do have a comment that said, is this the end of the Joe versus Steven thing? I do think that this is the end of Joe versus Steven. I think that this very well, like 90% sure, is going to be the end, but I still put Sierra at 11 just because I fear that if it's a boring boot that's just been overplayed, she goes home.
Wait, so you think it's going to be Joe or Steven, but you have Sierra at 11?
You know what it is? I'm leaning more towards this Joe and Steven thing ending this week because last week it came to such a head just to be kind of like deflated. I'm starting to think that it's going to come to an end this week, but maybe it just keeps extending and maybe this is just like a big thing that just keeps going. Maybe Joe wins immunity and Steven says, screw it, we can't do anything. Let's get rid of Sierra. And I can't put Joe at 11 when Sierra's there as like an easy target right now, at least. And Joe can win immunity, especially with this advantage thing. I think Joe's going to stay up there and try to win immunity while everybody else goes to try to get this advantage. And I think that you're going to end up with Joe winning immunity again.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all if Joe wins. I think we're not seeing it as much, and we didn't see it as much in Worlds Apart either, that even his alliance is like, all right, we can't let this guy go. The second he loses, he's gone. And it's not going to take much strategy. It's not going to take much maneuvering. The edit might make it look like that, but we saw Jeremy go, might be time to cut ties with Joe, and then he wins immunity. So if it was a thought in Jeremy's head that, man, Joe's too much of a threat, I can't let him get to the end, that doubt and that thought has just grown since he's won another immunity. So I think, and it might not be this episode, but when Joe loses immunity, he goes home. I hope that's not the case. I want to see him, get out of a tight spot. We said that about Mike all during last season. I want to see Mike lose an immunity challenge and somehow dodge the vote.
I mean, we said it about Joe last season too, though. As soon as Joe lost last season, it was like, Joe's gone. Like, I want to see if this guy can actually play the game without just winning immunities. Like I said last podcast, we've had 9 people voted out of the game so far. Joe has not been vulnerable in any episode yet. Yeah. He has not had the ability to go home in any of the episodes yet.
And the longer that happens, then the more likely it is the first time he's not immune is the time he's going to go home. Let's talk about this immunity challenge, because this is wacky. This looks crazy. This seems to be something like we've never seen before, that you're in the middle of like an endurance challenge and Jeff pulls some lever or a string and things pop up in the ocean and we don't know what it is.
First one to touch the buoy gets an advantage or something.
And then there's an idol also in play here. I think this is all has to do with the idol. The idol challenges.
I think so too. I think that whatever Jeff pulls up, I think that is an advantage in terms of an idol, or the idol's hidden somewhere. It's going to be some sort of idol thing. I don't think it's just going to be like an advantage like, this lets you be safe or something. I think that this is just going to be something about an idol. I'm just curious who's going to jump and who's going to stay.
Okay, no, this is we'll obviously talk about that a great deal, but I think this is what it is. They had this endurance challenge already planned. It's a classic challenge. You're standing on one of these triangular buoys and your legs are spread. I don't know all the details, but it's some kind of endurance thing. And then sometime during production, they're like, okay, we're going to hide idols at challenges, at immunity challenges. So we'll make it really exciting. Do you go for the idol? Do you help your team? Can you do it without people seeing? And we saw videos on YouTube from CBS that said, where are we going to put the idol this week? And they decide where to put it. These challenges weren't designed with idols in mind. The idol twist was, added later. So I think they have this endurance challenge. They're like, where the hell can we put this idol? There's nothing we can do. I mean, what are we going to do? So they had to add this extra element. So I think it's going to be directly it's a triangular thing. It's going to be directly under. And if you want to go for the idol, you have to jump off to get the idol and then swim out. So you're going to lose out on both, but you're going to be guaranteed an idol.
Okay.
Make sense?
Kind of. Wait, so you think that they would jump off and go for the buoy, or you think they would just jump off and reach underneath?
I think there's an advantage that's very real that Jeff's talking about. This just wouldn't be a decoy for the one person that found the idol clue. I think someone finds the idol clue. It says it's at the challenge, because they don't hide the idol unless someone finds the clue. So whoever finds the clue, someone's going to find the clue. It's going to be in under one person's little buoy. And then Jeff says, swim out if you want this advantage. I'm not going to tell you what the advantage is. And then the person who the idol's down there is going to jump off, get the idol in their pocket. But by that time, someone else is already headed to the buoy and getting the advantage. Joe is staying up, obviously, to win immunity. So you lose out on immunity, you lose out on this advantage, but you guarantee yourself an idol. So that's what likely happens.
That makes sense. Now, who do you think actually goes for it? I know we have a comment on that, and I know people are wondering, who do you think is actually going to go? Or I guess what would be easier, who do you think actually just doesn't jump? Joe, I think we're both under the assumption he stands up there to try to win immunity. Who else do you think would stay up, and who do you think just goes for the idol or the advantage?
I think people like Sierra, Kelly, and Abby. Not that, they might be out of the challenge at that point, or Abby.
I don't know. This is the tiny foot girl challenge.
Okay. Well, I think those three, they are not going to jump off. They need immunity. They need the necklace. Unless things have drastically changed to camp life before the challenge, where they suddenly have the numbers, but I doubt that's the case. I bet this is some type of scramble before Tribal, post-challenge. So I think they stay up there. I think Jeremy is the biggest candidate to jump off because he's been saying he doesn't want to come off as the biggest threat. And what better way to do that to show, I don't think I can win this challenge. I don't have a shot at it. I'm going to jump off and swim to a buoy for some other advantage that isn't immunity. So I think Jeremy, if he's not the one getting the idol clue, I think he's the one that gets the advantage in the game.
Yeah, that would make sense. It would fit Jeremy's little arc going on here, and I think that maybe this whole idol hunt thing that we're seeing in the preview, maybe this is just all blown up to somebody got this advantage. Everybody knows that they're going to be looking for something, and people are just kind of following them around, kind of like what we saw in Cagayan, where everybody's just running around in a mad scramble looking for an idol.
I don't think that's what this is, though, because this is at the immunity challenge. So all that scrambling stuff, that's going to happen before then. The reason people are going crazy for the idol is that they know Kelly Wentworth just played one, so it's going to be a rehid.
That's true.
That's what it is. People are going to, and it's going to be exactly like the Cagayan thing. People are going to be looking everywhere, following people. It's going to be one of these crazy idol hunts. Someone will find the clue. Now, the biggest question, I think, in terms of the idol is Survivor, you and me, Phil. And I find the clue, and you're my best buddy, you're in my alliance, or at least I hope you'd be in my alliance. And I take the clue out and I share it with you. What does that mean? Does that mean
do they hide too?
They can't hide too, but the person who knows, like you, if I open the clue and show you, or let's say we read it exactly at the same time. Like, what if we open it, you're holding one side and I'm holding one side, and we read it together? Like, what happens then? And I doubt that happens, but it is interesting to think.
Yeah, I don't know what they would do in that situation. Because then two people would know exactly where an idol is going to be.
There can only be one idol. And
yeah.
The problem is there's no communal area of this challenge unless they put it underwater in the middle. But then the person in the middle kind of buoy, they have an advantage. So
yeah.
I don't know. I think it's going to be under the person's buoy, whoever finds it.
That's a good point. I mean, I don't know enough about it. I haven't seen enough stuff about it. I think that's like a really good theory in terms of where it would be and why it's coming up in this situation. I'm curious then what the advantage is actually going to be. I don't know what that would be, but
exactly.
Who knows? Maybe it's the extra vote again. Maybe it's the extra vote again.
It very well could be the extra vote. I know we kind of talked about it before the season. We're like, the extra vote probably won't make its way into the season just because there's a lot going on already. Mm-hmm. We have returning players. We have 2 tribe swaps and an early merge, and the idols are at challenges. They can look like anything. Like, there is just so much being thrown at these survivors that are we really going to toss in an extra vote to complicate things? But now that seems like, hey, that could easily happen.
I mean, and it worked out perfectly for them last season. So maybe they just were like, hey, we got to do this again. I mean, that worked perfect. We're throwing everything at them anyway. Let's do it now.
And we have to remember this is an immunity challenge. So it's not going to be an advantage in the next challenge because that's always something at a reward. So if it's not an extra vote, I don't know what it is. And if it's an idol clue, then it's an idol clue 2 challenges away because it's not at the reward challenge. And that wouldn't really make much sense either. So I think an extra vote would be where my money is.
I'm thinking that I think that's probably what it's got to be. And hopefully it plays out just as well as it did with Dan because that was fantastic. So hopefully this is a risk that works.
Yeah, I don't know. But do you think you should get an extra vote just by giving up immunity and, in swimming out? Because the person who gets the idol who's going to get the idol doesn't even have a chance of doing that.
It's all choices you got to make, man.
But you don't know it's an extra vote. It's an advantage. So that seems kind of unfair that they say, this is assuming that it is an extra vote. We don't know that for sure. But if it is, it's kind of, I don't know. I'm trying to think of what else it could be because I think an extra vote is too powerful to just give to someone who jumps off of immunity.
But didn't they just give it to Dan last year at the auction?
Yeah, but the auction, everyone's fighting for it, kind of. Everyone's like...
everybody has a chance to fight for it here, too.
Everyone knows it's coming. Yeah, and I said this, I love that I would love an advantage at an reward challenge, not at the auction where it's just luck and people all putting in the same money. Like, that's nonsense. You have challenges. So this could be very interesting. I've said it before, an extra vote can be very, very powerful. It can be more powerful than an idol, even though it worked out. Yeah.
When you have like maybe a clear division. I mean, it's huge.
Okay. Do you want to start? And by the way, I'll just say this: my power rankings. I think this might be a week where we both get a lot of points. I don't feel comfortable at all with my power rankings.
So you mean like few points? Like this could be a week where our number points,
right?
Yeah,
right.
No, I completely agree with you. This was kind of just me guessing and just kind of going down the line and hoping.
Yeah, and because it doesn't feel like this is going to be just Sierra goes or Joe loses immunity and goes, but I have no one else to put at the bottom because I just have no clue. So that's the safest thing I can do.
Yeah.
Let's get it. Do we want to start with Twitter?
Yeah, might as well start with Twitter. It's always fun to start with Twitter. We finally hit 500 subscribers. So anybody who said congratulations, we're not going to read all those, but thank you for saying congratulations. We hit 500.
Wow,
that was a big deal. That was a big deal.
Let's go to 1,000.
Yeah, now we just got to hit 1,000. That's the next thing. So
and then we can start bringing on survivors, past survivors.
Exactly. Like big ones, like big ones.
That's the rule. They won't come on a podcast unless there's 1,000 subscribers.
I don't think that's the rule.
All right, let's read the comments, the Twitter comments.
All right, so Ravinder Sharma, of course, has a bunch because he always does. This is definitely one of the best idol plays. Negating 9 votes is just ridiculous. It was an inside job. Despite knowing that Kelly had all the votes and she was playing her idol, Jeremy didn't think of playing his, makes me believe he is the insider, and the fact they didn't split the votes proves it. Do you think Jeremy was the insider?
No, and I don't know if there was an insider.
Well, we just got a comment from Tom Azenberg that said it actually has been confirmed by Kelly Wentworth's Periscope that Joe told her about the vote.
Okay, I was going to say that I didn't know if it had been confirmed, but that's still the most likely theory. It wasn't Jeremy. So yeah, Joe, that was Joe's fault, and anyone who wanted to give Joe MVP, he has to be LVP. We can decide that now, right? That like Joe is LVP.
I mean, yeah, because I'm not going to give you Jeremy being MVP because that's one of the stupidest things that I've ever heard in my life. So I'll give you Joe as LVP.
That is not one of the stupidest things. Someone else, who was, it was actually on Rob Has a Podcast on Know It Alls. I think Rob was saying that how is this that great of an idol play if Joe told her that she was getting voted on, like they weren't splitting.
Yeah. And because Jeremy didn't split the votes, one of his closest allies in the entire game went home, and he's the ringleader of that entire alliance. So how can you give MVP to somebody who doesn't even realize to split the votes to save his own alliance member? One of his alliance members went home. One of his closest allies went home. How can you give him MVP? That's crazy.
Because he had the balls to not play his idol. That's huge.
He had the balls to not play his idol, but he also lost one of his tightest alliance members because he didn't have the balls to split the votes. I don't understand how you could say he was an MVP for that.
But everybody, it wasn't just Jeremy. Everybody said Kelly Wentworth doesn't have an idol. And if they do split the votes, maybe Joe and Keith do vote with the 3 girls and get Fishbach off, who's also his closest ally. If Jeremy didn't have a choice, like either Fishbach goes or Savage goes. I mean, he said this. He'd rather have Fishbach. So it's like you can't like knock a player for either way the situation goes. One of your allies is going home. As long as it's not him, and he didn't waste his idol, and he totally saved Steven. I mean, I still think Joe, because why does Kelly get it when if you're out there
Kelly
and you
made the idol play and saved her alliance, and nobody in her alliance went home, and she got rid of one of the strongest players in the game by doing so in Savage, and she weakens that big alliance now. I mean, it's so cut and dry. It's so cut and dry. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think we gave her MVP for finding the idol. Why does she get MVP for playing it?
She played it at a perfect time, and there's nobody else.
Anyone would have played it. There's no skill. There's no absolutely zero skill in what she did.
I mean, she played it, and she played it right.
Joe told her.
Either.
Yeah, are you kidding me? There's so much skill.
Losing your alliance member takes skill. That's what takes skill. Losing one of your closest allies takes skill. Okay.
You're not listening to me at all. You're not listening to me at all.
I am listening to you. And I'm making my point, and I'm saying you cannot give MVP to somebody who doesn't split the vote when they're the head of the alliance.
No, but if he does split the votes, Joe and Keith go and vote with the girls. Then he loses Fishbach.
What is that? But that might not have happened. So I don't understand why you're giving him MVP
but it
for
might
something that might not have even happened.
But okay, but let's say hypothetically,
he's not playing that well of a game that he can even trust the people who are closest to him because he's afraid they might leave him. So why should he get MVP for not even having total control over his alliance?
Because no one ever has total control over 9 people, and he is damn near close to that.
He
is damn near close to that. I just think if you're Kelly, Joe says you're going home. Duh, you play your idol. It takes no skill at all. Yeah, it was shocking. It was fun to watch. Is it MVP? I don't think so.
100% yes. There is nobody else who's even close. Next comment. So, Ravincha Sharma, Keith is without a doubt one of the most likable characters in the history of the show. He can win if he's in the final. There's no way Keith gets to the final this season, I don't think. Do you think he has any chance to even get to the final? Because I don't think he can win. And I think if he got to the end. Yeah. I mean, he's likable, but there's no way he gets to the end.
If Keith gets to the end, people aren't voting for him. This is a cast of serious Survivor players, and they do not respect Keith's game as much as they may like him in person.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it would come down to. If Keith sat in the end, they'd be like, we really like you, but you did nothing. And in San Juan del Sur, doing nothing was exactly what he needed to do to win. He could have beaten anybody just because he was so likable. In this season, that's not going to happen because everybody here is likable. Well, everybody here has somebody who likes them. Yeah, exactly. Or, Ravincha Sharma Savage is the epitome of bad luck. A stupid twist earlier in Idol Play Now. I couldn't help but laugh at his departure. Was a fantastic departure.
This is not bad luck. This is bad Survivor gameplay.
Yeah.
This is bad Survivor
his
gameplay.
whole alliance, which is headed by Jeremy. Perfect.
No, this isn't. It's not the vote split. He got this vote because he threw out Sierra's name when he didn't need to. That was his downfall. I mean, imagine if he would have thrown Woo's name out there or Kelly Wiggles' name out there. Sierra and Cass don't get all crazy. Spencer goes home. He's tight with all of them. He's probably not the target of that idol. It's probably Jeremy or Steven. That was his fault.
It's his fault that he was targeted here. I do see where he's saying with the bad luck though, because he was targeted, but he was targeted by 3 people. So he still had 9 people in his alliance. It is still kind of bad luck when you get voted out when it's 9-on-3. I mean, that's kind of bad luck, but it's his fault that it was his name. It's his fault for that.
Right. I don't like hearing this. He gets screwed by a twist. Idols are in the game.
Yeah.
You have to do everything you can to make sure you're not going to hit.
He doesn't feel like he got screwed.
I know he doesn't. So
Savage doesn't. So
that'll tell you enough.
Yeah. And then last one from Ravincha Sharma, calling Michael Scoopin stupid in the Philippines or trolling Savage for making the jury. Which one's the best Abby Maria moment?
This one's just this was perfect.
I agree. It was the funniest. That was a fantastic moment, and I thought both parties were fantastic in it. Let's see here. Oh my gosh, do we not have that many comments? I don't think we do. All right, Giovanni Oriana, do you think even if Joe goes this week, the girls won't form an alliance with each other? Does he mean all of the girls?
Wait, read it one more time.
He said, do you think even if Joe goes this week, the girls won't form an alliance with each other?
I mean, 3 of the girls are already together, so that would just be a matter of getting Kimmy, Tasha, and
Wigglesworth.
Wow, I can't even – she doesn't even come to mind.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Maybe they could if that's what you're saying. I mean, they could. It was hinted at by Monica so early. Maybe her whole point in this season was just to hint at something that comes into shape later on in the game. I don't think it happens, though. I don't think Tasha wants anything to do with him. I don't think Kimmy wants anything to do with him.
We know Kimmy
knows what's going on.
Well, we know Kimmy's not into an all-female alliance. She likes Steven and she likes Jeremy a lot. We saw her. Yeah. We saw her, act that out in episode 5.
Yeah.
Or 4.
Giovanni, again, if you guys were in the game, would you try to take the advantage at the challenge? I think it completely depends on what position you're in. If you're Joe or Wentworth or Sierra, I say you try to win immunity, especially if you're one of the girls. This is a challenge that completely favors girls. Yeah, I know Joe's a stud, but this is the thing where you just get on the smaller little pieces of wood, and girls normally win this challenge. So I think you stay up there. If I'm somebody like Jeremy or Spencer, I'm jumping off to try to get it. Steven, I'm probably jumping off to try to get it.
Yeah, I would be the guy who jumps off, gets the idol. So I would have the idol clue.
There you go. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. I hope that what you said there actually is how it plays out, because I think that would be pretty damn awesome. Because who would be paying attention?
Right. No,
swimming.
That has to be it, because you can tell how they, shoehorn this little swim out for an advantage thing. Like, this was not a part of the original challenge, and they're like, darn, where are we going to hide an idol? How is someone going to get an idol without, completely – I guess if they were just standing there and Jeff says, challenge on, you have to jump off and get the hidden immunity idol once you get off.
When you fall, you have to like drop something and be like, "Oh crap!" Like drop your buff or something, and like go back to get the buff and just pull the idol then.
No, just when you fall in the water, you like come up and you hold onto it and you breathe and you just reach up like under it and grab it. So that could have happened. Do you think it's at all possible if you go out and swim, can you like get back on the buoy and you're still in the challenge, or is it like you have to decide whether you want to win?
No, you have to decide whether you want to win. They never do it where like you can go for it and then come back up. No, I think that you.
Yeah, I know it's never happened. So I'm just throwing it out there. That could, it's fun. Like, this is the kind of stuff we love to talk about, because when Survivor's doing something new, especially at a challenge, I mean, challenges are about the most repeated aspects of Survivor. I mean, it's like they reuse them. They usually don't get much change. Like, this is fun. There's some new element to a challenge. I'm all for it. Excited to see what it's all about.
Yeah, this will be cool. Jimmy O'Connor, I think Steven exposed Joe quite a bit, but I have an inkling that Joe will find the idol and Steven will be his casualty. Hey,
I put in my prop bet that Joe plays an idol successfully, so I would love for that to happen. I had Kelly finding it but not playing it. Like, that's just.
And I have Joe finding it but not playing it.
So we're playing it wrong. You have to play it successfully.
Yeah, exactly. So. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Steven is his casualty, but it could go either way right now. But I guess Willie's probably more accurate with this, that it's probably leaning more towards Steven winning this battle. But, I mean, it could swing either way.
Am I?
What?
Yeah, no, I am. I was kidding.
Steven is going to win. Yeah, but I mean, the way they've played up Steven, maybe he just never gets a redemption and he just goes home. So maybe, who knows? D, Smarty Pants. If your family really loves you, they'll understand your obsession with Survivor and your desire to satisfy your fans. That's probably the best thing that anybody will ever say. So it's true.
Yeah, I will get so much grief for this. I mean, I have like 8 cousins, like 8 aunts and uncles. They're all staying at my parents' house. Like, we're having to sign off for 3.5 hours. Like, and Wednesday is the first night everyone arrives, because everyone, has work Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday is the big travel day. Wednesday is like, I need to probably pick up people from the airport because we have so many cars going back and forth. It's going to be tough. I'm going to do everything I can to be able to podcast.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you. But you have to look at it this way. When we're like millionaires because of this, they'll understand then. Then they'll understand. So, But
millionaires, I don't know.
I guess we'll have to see. I mean, that's still a week and some time away. Tom Azenberg. Okay, I read that one. And then Ash, do you think anyone is willing to align with Joe, or is his only bet to make it further in the game to win immunity? I think people would align with Joe just because there's clearly 3 people on the bottom right now. And I think that they would align with Joe or easily just try to vote him off. But I think that people are willing to align with Joe right now.
I think there are, but are there enough?
That's really what it comes down to. That's true.
I think Keith seems to love Joe. Jeremy and Steven, they're like, and we thought Joe and Jeremy were like tight. Like his whole meat shield thing. Like, he was very quick to say, yeah, it's about time. That was when there were 12 people left. Jeremy said that. Now there are 11. Now Joe's won one more immunity. And if you're on the bottom, yeah, maybe you'd work with Joe because he'll flip on you. Or you could say, guys, get out Joe. That's your best pitch if you're on the bottom.
It's true. So I think that if Joe wins immunity, people will work with him, and that could help him to have people work with him later in the game without winning immunity. But I think this week is definitely important for him to win immunity. So I think to get through this week, he'll probably have to win immunity. To get further in the game, though, after this week, I don't think he would necessarily have to win immunity, because I think people are going to be opening up their games to vote out threats that are strategic threats, not just physical threats.
Yeah, I hear you totally. I don't think it's so much he needs to win every immunity here on out, but he needs to win this week. And maybe, like you said, if he has the necklace, he will, work with other people to make another big move. And at that point, if you can get to being in the, top 10 and being a number in a solid alliance, yeah, you're a physical threat. But if you're needed by like 4 people or 5 people, then they can't really target you. So this also is, will completely be blown up if Joe finds an idol. I mean, how awesome would that be for Joe to find an idol because he's number 1 target? Maybe there's an extra vote involved. I mean, this could be the best post-merge ever. If we look at the 2 merge episodes so far, both have been very, very good. Obviously, last week being the best of the season, best episodes of the season. So, man, I hope we're in for more fun episodes. And I want to see Joe stick around. I fear for him, especially because, like you're saying, this immunity challenge totally catered towards women and people who are lighter and don't have as big as features. So this one will be tough. Didn't they do this last in Worlds Apart? Didn't Carolyn win?
I think they did, and I think Carolyn won. I think Joe was or was this when? I think Joe was already out of the game at that point, though.
Right.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see him do it. But speaking of, hopefully it's exciting, we might as well go to the YouTube comments where Benjamin LaFleur, I think this is where we pick up, said in Savage's exit interview, he said that there was something that never happened in 15 years of Survivor that'll happen during the next part of the season. So hopefully that means it's exciting. What do you think it could be? There's a lot. Yeah, that's too hard, but there's a lot.
That screams to me tie at Final 3.
Really?
Just hearing that for the first time, that's instantly what I thought of.
And how awesome would that be? I would love to see that. Come on, I want to know.
I wish Savage didn't say that, and I wish I didn't know about this because now I'm going to be thinking about a tie from here on out. And now I'm sorry I said it to so many people who are probably going to watch this. I'm sorry. But
you're not always right, so I doubt.
I know I'm not always right, but now it's just in the back of your head like, damn it, there's going to be a tie. That means 2 very good winners need to be up there in the finals.
There's a lot of stuff that could be first. I mean, Jeff Probst plays up everything as this will be another Survivor first, and then you watch it and you're like, oh, it was the first time somebody peed their pants on the show.
No. That does not happen. When he says first, it usually is true.
He said that it was another Survivor first when they merged at 13 because there was a 13-person vote.
That is a Survivor first.
Yeah, that is a Survivor first, but everybody knew it was coming. Don't hype up the episode by that when everybody already knows it's going to happen.
Okay, but this isn't Jeff Probst. This is Savage.
Is it Jeff Probst or is it Savage? Let's be honest here. Aren't they one and the same? Come on. It's Andrew Savage. It's like Jeff Probst's little crony.
So you think Jeff told Savage to say this in his exit interview? Because
of how everybody just says how much Jeff loves Savage.
I could see Savage easily going, there's a tie. It's the first time ever. I mean, now I'm thinking tie. You got me on this tie thing now. This is going to change the whole rest of the season. Gosh darn it. That's why I don't like hearing these things. Now it's too... You just want to jump to a conclusion. All right, next comment.
Mindtendo. I think that Wentworth knew from someone, probably Joe, that she was getting the votes, and Sierra knew too, because when Kelly pulled out the idol, Sierra seemed really happy. She didn't know she would have been scared to death because then she would think she was going home instead. Yeah, I guess they knew that the votes weren't being split too. I guess that was a key in this whole situation, is they knew the votes weren't being split. They knew it was 9-3.
Well, what do you do?
Sierra would not have been as happy.
What do you do if they split the votes if you're Kelly?
God,
what do you do?
I think you don't play it and hope they gave more to Sierra.
So I think you have to play it just because.
I don't know. That's a tough situation.
You got to make it 3 days.
I mean, it seemed like Joe was telling her anyway. So if Joe would have came up to her and said, "Hey, they're going to split the votes, more are going to Sierra than you," then you just sit there and hope that Joe didn't lie to you. You don't play your idol, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean that's what you have to do in that situation.
Yeah.
Joe spilled the beans. That's confirmed. So we can give him, whose team is he on?
Me.
So you get LVP and you get MVP because everyone voted Kelly probably.
Yeah. I got pretty much everything last week.
I did see an MVP vote though.
There were some random. We don't get as many people voting for MVP this year. I feel like nobody wants to do that anymore. We're too insightful to just for people to just comment MVP. I feel like that's what's happening.
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. Tori Crosgrove, do you guys think it's funny that when Joe, Haley, and Jen were on the bottom, Jen played the idol and Joe called her Savage this season, the 3 on the bottom? Wentworth plays an idol and they actually take out Savage. I saw like a meme or a GIF or something of that, and it was pretty funny.
Yeah, it is funny. Good. It's just good old Survivor,
coming full circle.
I don't know. It's just there's 31 seasons of the show. That's bound to happen. Stuff like that. The little coincidences. So it's always fun when it does.
Survivor lover Kelly Wigglesworth talked last episode. She's going home next week. She didn't even get a confessional. She just said 2 words, and that counts. That's what's funny at this point. Yeah,
she has to get a confessional before her boot episode. At least I'm doing my power rankings that way.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing too.
Oh, we have to do Eliminator pick.
You have to. I already said Jeremy.
Oh, I didn't hear you say that.
Yeah, I said
you're gonna. Can you give me a quick rundown again of who I have? I think I put it somewhere, but I have it. I'll have it on the prop bet list, and which we will update after we get through the comments. But man, I'm not doing so hot because I only have 5 more people left in the game: Jeremy, Kelly Wentworth, Keith, Tasha, and Steven. And these are all players that could go far. So I'm kind of digging myself a grave here every time I pick someone. So my strategy is going to have to be pick someone that you think is going to go home, not this week, but the next week.
So who you going?
Man, I'm going to have to go. Gosh, this is so difficult. I think Jeremy's going to stick around. Do I have to go Tasha here? I'll go Keith. I'll go Keith this week. He's my number 1 in my power rankings. I'll go Keith because he's not going to make it all the way to the end.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, my 3 picks, I have Jeremy this week. My 3 before that were Keith, Kimmy, and Wigglesworth. So, I'm using up all of the people who've barely gotten screen time. I need them to go home now.
Oh, man. If Keith goes home. Will be interesting
with the double boot, though. If that really is a double boot next week, that'll be interesting with this because then you got to pick somebody and there's 2 people who are going to be going home.
Yeah, that's why I'm saving Jeremy for next week just because I hope he still has that idol. And wouldn't that suck if I pick Jeremy and he plays his idol in the first episode and then goes home in the next episode?
That would be really
that's what's going to happen. Something like that is going to happen. At least kudos to us for both sticking around so far.
We're still in it. In a season that's been really unpredictable.
Right. I just never got to use so many names because I didn't think these early merge boot like Vitas, PG, Shireen, never got to drop them in. Well, back to the comments.
So Survivor lover, CBS showing Keith driving the tut-tut around shows that he's going to have a lot more airtime down the road, and that he's going to go far in the game. And I believe out of Abby, Kelly Wigglesworth, Kimmy, and Keith, I believe Keith is the safest because everyone likes him. Ending his links with Jeremy, Tasha, Wentworth, him and Joe seem really close. Sierra and Kimmy. I think he might be playing the anyone but me game because he is voting with the majority no matter who it is on the chopping block. I think that's a spot-on interpretation of Keith's game.
If you think about it, Keith is playing a pretty good game. He has always gone with the numbers. He's never been, on the block at all. The only problem is that we just haven't heard enough of his strategy or his point of view. We don't see the game from his side. This isn't Keith's story. So I don't think he goes all the way to Final 3, though, because I think people know he's a jury threat, even though, he hasn't made any moves. People are still saying, man, Keith is likable. We got to get rid of him. Mm-hmm. So I'll go, I hope Keith now goes kind of soon, now that he's my eliminator pick. Not this week, but man, I only have 4 people left now.
Yeah, it's getting tough, man. And who knows? Maybe after this week, you only have 3 people left if one of them gets voted out. So that's interesting. What if Steven goes? You only have 3 people left. Getting down to it, Willie. So the Gamer Girl 2330, Will has a very obvious man crush on Jeremy. Very true.
I have a man crush on only one person, and his name is Steph Curry, and I will not cheat on anybody else. So sorry, Jeremy.
If we could do this real quick, and I know this has nothing to do with Survivor, but if we could do this real quick, I'm a diehard Detroit Lions fan, and in my entire lifetime, they've never won at Lambeau Field, and today they finally won at Lambeau Field after playing there every single year. They play there every single year, and in my entire lifetime, they never won there until today. So I have to throw that out there. Lions 2-7, Super Bowl bound. Had to throw that out there.
Yeah, that was a huge accomplishment. Good for you there. Steph Curry is out of his mind. So, again, man crush for Steph Curry. Who are the Lions playing on Thanksgiving?
The Eagles.
That'll be fun. You got Stafford.
Yeah.
Stafford versus Bradford.
Yeah, Stafford versus Bradford, the number ones, who both aren't very good. So, yeah, that's the sports report with Phil and Will. Now back to Survivor. Gamer Girl 2330. Why do you think people are confused as to why Jeremy didn't play his idol? To me, it was obvious. He knew he wasn't on the chopping block and didn't want to waste it. Yeah, he must have known that he really wasn't being a name that was thrown around there. He must have known the girls weren't running for him.
Or he took a little gamble and said, look, I don't want to waste this thing. I think I'm not going. But for people to say it's obvious, I don't think it was obvious that he wasn't going. He knows he's a threat. He knows people are coming after him. He said it throughout. On the third episode, or the second episode, he's like, after Savage told the story, I think he was like, yeah, I just need to do what I got to do. People are going to be coming at me this entire game. I need to, keep his threats around him. If I were Jeremy in that position, I would be worried. I don't know if I play it, but it definitely crossed his mind.
It's not like sweating, yeah.
It's not like he went, nah, I'm not going home. He just definitely had to think about it.
Yeah, it's not like he knew it was a guarantee.
Or maybe he didn't have it with him. That's something too.
That would be so crazy. Yeah, maybe. I mean, they really did not think Kelly Wentworth had an idol. I mean, all of Savage's reviews have just been like, Kelly Wentworth did not have an idol. We all knew she didn't have an idol. And Kelly Wentworth
had. And they talked about it too. It wasn't like
you gotta remember too, though. She was not on a tribe with a lot of the original. I mean, I know that one when it was 6 original Bion and Kelly Wentworth, but before that, she wasn't on a tribe with a lot of the people left in the game. And that might have had something to do with it, where people couldn't really read her and weren't getting used to her. There's only 3 total people still left in the game that were on her original tribe when she found that idol. I mean, so there hasn't been that much time spent with Kelly Wentworth by a lot of the people who are still left. Maybe that had something to do with it.
Yeah. I just thought of something. This probably won't have any outcome or result in the actual show. But do you think there was an idol already hidden at the merge Bion? Like when they merged, they hit a new idol?
I don't think so.
No.
Maybe a clue to the idol, but I don't think they hid the idol.
No, that's what I mean. I mean, an idol clue.
I think they did. I think that was already hidden. Probably.
Okay, so now that Kelly Wentworth played her idol, are they going to hide another idol clue? Now there's 2 idol clues out there?
No, I think it's just going to be one, but I think people are going to be more aware of it now. Like Savage was saying, they didn't even think idols were in play this season because they'd heard nothing about them. And because Steven kept searching for it, and they kept saying, Steven doesn't have it, Steven doesn't have it, Steven doesn't have it, they didn't even think idols were around.
Yeah, that was kind of funny when they talked about that. Because it makes a little bit of sense. The 2 people who found them did not make a peep about it. Yeah. They didn't say anything.
Amazing. Yeah, which is amazing. Anthony Beam, do you think Joe versus Steven is coming to an end this week? I kind of covered this. I think it is. If it doesn't, though, I think Sierra's the boot. So I think it's going to be between those 3, really. I mean, I have them as the bottom 3 in my power rankings. Wentworth has an outside shot. Anybody could go.
What did you say last week?
Storyline.
In the power rankings? In the power rankings, you said it was going to be 1 of 3 people, right?
And I was wrong. It was the person I had 4th, so maybe Wentworth goes this week because I have her 4th away.
Hey, you never know. You never know.
Yeah. Joe Pruss, do you think Joe should take a chance and go for the advantage in the game during the challenge or just win the challenge? He just has to win the challenge. Unless he's in a severe amount of pain on the challenge and doesn't think he can win it, he has to try to win the challenge. Unless he knows he's not going to, he has to try to win it.
If Joe wins this one, man, this would be crazy if he were to win this balance one, the water one. That's impressive. Because we know he's good at puzzles. We know he's physical, and we know he's good with the balls. Man, this would be impressive.
Yeah. Twisty Pops, out of the 3 players who don't seem to be doing much strategically, Wigglesworth, Kimmy, and Keith, who do you think will last the longest? I actually think Kimmy's going to last the longest.
I would say that too. I hear that.
I think she actually has an alliance around her. And I don't feel like Keith. I think Keith's kind of wishy-washy right now, and I don't think Wigglesworth is anywhere. I think Kimmy has people who can protect her and shield her until it's time to get rid of her. So I think Kimmy's going to go the furthest out of them.
That's interesting. Should we make a bet? This is our bet of the week. but we won't know.
bet-
This won't be solved. And the Steve and Joe thing is not solved either. Do we want to make another bet on that? Because it kind of pushed last week with the Idol. We didn't. I mean, it's just nothing came of it really. Joe didn't, or Steven didn't fail. Joe didn't fail. No one came out on top. It was kind of a,
So do you want to just put down who's you want Steven for actually coming out on top of the Joe-Steven feud? So pretty much you're saying Steven's going to go further than Joe, and I'm saying
I think that's what it has to be. Which player goes further, Joe or Steven?
Okay. So we'll do that. It's 5 points.
Okay, but so you think – but I just want to make sure you still think Joe is going further than Steven.
I still think Joe's going to go further than Steven.
I think Steven goes further than Joe. And that is okay. There's no murky waters there. I mean, that is clear cut.
That is clear cut and dry. Unless they tie somehow. They both make the final 3 and they get 0 votes. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I
actually
think
if they both make the final 3, like that's a draw because it's about who lasts longer. And everyone who makes the final 3 lasts 39 days.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know if we have to do one with Kimmy, Keith, and Wigglesworth because I think it's going to be Kimmy. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to force you to pick somebody else, but you said Kimmy too, so.
Yeah, we already have this one bet. When this bet ends, maybe we'll get another bet.
We'll come up with something else.
We disagree enough, so yeah.
We do. We yell at each other sometimes. Twisty Pops, what did you guys think of Savage's Ponderosa video? I thought that was fantastic. I think Savage and Cass are like a great little odd couple. I thought it was great that Savage went in bitter, and I'm so happy he didn't stay bitter because that would have been awful. I'm so happy that he got over it. I'm glad to see Cass isn't taking it too seriously. She comes in and flips everybody off, but she's just playing it up and trolling the shit out of them. I think it's going to be great with Savage and Cass there. They're a nice pair to be there where they're so opposite, but at the same time, they both have the same egos that are just huge. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I think this is one of the better Ponderosas just from 2 episodes. This is awesome. This is like Heroes versus Villains or Tocantins. Those are the 2 best Ponderosas. If you never watched them, go watch those. But this one, I mean, I was really happy with this whole Cass Savage storyline and how it played out.
Yeah, I don't want to kind of give anything away for the rest of it. So I don't want to say anything more about it. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It is fun. It's a good Ponderosa episode for sure.
Yeah. I just had it. All I said was the bitter thing. Yeah, definitely watch it. And if you haven't been watching the Ponderosas in the past, go find the ones from Tocantins and Heroes versus Villains. Those are the 2 best ones. Tyson is freaking hysterical in the first one, and then the Heroes versus Villains with Coach is just so ridiculous.
I actually haven't seen those, so I'll have to check those out.
Oh my god, you have to find them, dude. They're so funny. Have you ever seen the band that Courtney, JT, and Coach make in Heroes versus Villains?
No.
Oh, well, everybody go look up On the Dance Floor by the Dragons. There you go. That's Survivor trivia for you right there. It's unbelievably ridiculous. Coach is just so insane, and Courtney and JT just play with him the entire time. So we already pretty much covered who we think is going to go get the advantage in the Bowie Challenge. And then Joe Proust, I think that Joe and Keith will flip to the girls and vote out Steven. I really am not worried for Joe because people are using him as a number right now. What do you think? That's what I think. That's not what you think, though, right? I mean, we just made the bet. It can't be what you think.
Yeah, I mean, that might happen. That what Joe Proust said might happen, but you have to remember Steven and Jeremy aren't just going to sit around and do nothing. They're they're players. So it was like last episode, this whole Steven blindside came together very quickly, and it ended very quickly because you have other people playing the game that have other motives and they have other priorities. So yeah, that 5 could get together, but that's only 5. You need 1 more.
It's true. That's true.
And you have to play against Jeremy and Steven, who are 2 really great players. And Spencer's in the mix. I mean, we don't know what Spencer's up to. He has his own plans.
It's insane that we really don't know that much about this season, and we're coming into episode 9. We have no idea where people stand. This season sort of, I don't know. It's kind of got that fans versus favorites feel where it's like you think that there's this definite alliance, but it kind of flips back and forth a little bit, and all of a sudden, then it's like the girls just come out on top, and it's like, what is going on? And I mean, there was a comment about it with Eric Reichenbach being underrated in this video that we skipped over. But that's kind of the feel I'm getting from this a little bit. We're just going to keep getting blindside after blindside after blindside where people think they're in the know and they're completely not. I mean, the string of blindsides in Micronesia was insane. This Savage one could have started a great string of blindsides.
Yeah, I will say I was post-merge. Micronesia is probably the best post-merge out of any season, I think.
Yeah, it has to be. I mean, it really does have to be. I would say it's between that. I love Vanuatu's post-merge, which might sound insane, but I love the story.
I like Palau. I like Palau's post-merge.
And Palau was really fun. Yeah, Palau was really fun.
Probably top. That's probably my second after Micronesia.
And another great one is Tocantins. And his first one, I mean, the way Steven and JT navigated that Timbira alliance was fantastic. So there's a lot of great post-merge. This one is starting off hot, and I'm hoping with just Blindside after Blindside for some really, really entertaining TV. And the first two boots post-merge so far have been great. Both episodes have been great.
Agreed.
We're out of comment to do up the prop bet game.
Oh, we're out of comments, really. Let me check on the mobile. I know some people use the mobile trick. We didn't mention it yet, but I think enough people catch on.
I don't have my phone on me. So.
Here we go. I think we have some here. Total Drama Survivor fan. Can Will podcast with his family? That would be interesting. It would be
like a vacation movie.
Nothing would get done. It would be madness. It'd be insane. I think I have 7 cousins visiting. 2 of them are bringing their significant other, or 3 of them. So, and then my sister and my parents, and it's going to be about, I think there's like 23 people staying.
Be honest. How insecure are you going to feel when you say, guys, I have to do my Survivor podcast? Like at any point during this weekend when you say that, how insecure is that? You're going to feel this big. You're going to shrink down, and everybody's just going to start laughing. They're all going to point right in your face and just start dying laughing. But we're cool. I don't care what your family says. We're cool.
No, I don't know how I'm gonna handle it. There's a chance we watch the East Coast feed. You're not working Wednesday before Thanksgiving. You better not be.
I don't believe so, and if I do, it's a half day. It's early, so it's fine.
So if I can get it out of the way early, but man, it's going to be 3.5 hours, because if it goes from 5, this episode ends at 7. We're podcasting from 7 to 7:30.
7 to 8:30.
And then if you start at 8 and go to 10, and then you do 11:30. So either way, it's going to be, maybe we'll have to get up at like 6 a.m. on Thanksgiving and knock it out.
Get Christmas presents under the tree. Nobody's ever that excited for.
Or maybe we can kind of steal it from CBS before and say, look, we're podcasters. We need the copy of the episode.
Like before. We need to do it. Exactly. We'll make up a website or something. I mean, come on. All these other websites get it, and they're no better than us. We have 511 subscribers. What do they have?
Yeah, wait. You can't get the episode early, can you?
I don't think
People don't actually do that. No. Okay. Harold Rice. If Abby, Kelly Wentworth, and Sierra are the witches, does that make Steven, Spencer, and Jeremy the wizards? Well, we know Steven is a wizard.
He is the wizard.
I think Jeremy's more of a warlock because he's not a wizard. I do not get any wizard vibes from Jeremy at all.
He wouldn't look good in the hat. That's really what it comes down to. He can't grow a beard that good. Like, he wouldn't have that.
Neither can Spencer.
Spencer's
too wimpy to be a warlock.
Spencer, but yeah, no. Spencer's a wizard because he's like the wizard who's like, look, I got my staff. I'll do everything from a distance. Jeremy's up in your face. But yeah, we know Steven's the wizard. I mean, he's been called that before. So.
Yeah, and the name of the episode is Witch's Coven.
Yeah, that
sounds like a Steven quote.
It does sound like something he would say.
And man, I'm really not doing well in the prop bet game. We will get into it, but I'm taking, like, how did Cass not get an episode title? It boggles my mind. It does. Shireen or PG didn't cry. I mean, how did that not happen?
Everybody cried. Yeah, but the difference here is you still have your jury member available. You still have your
immunity challenge.
Like, I don't have those anymore.
Harold Rice, do you think Dan Foley is overhated? That's a good term, overhated. Yeah, I think he's totally overhated. We talked about this after the finale. Man, I actually posted a really long post about it on Reddit in defense of Dan. It is the dude, and this, I'll be rewatching Survivor, and I'll send little Snapchats or video clips to Phil when someone says something like, I just want to punch him in the face, or I want to hit him over the head with a rock. I want to throw him off a cliff, or her. People talk in hyperbole all the time. Like, it is insane.
How many of you out there are big Jeff Varner fans? Probably most of you after this season. In his season, he said that sometimes he just wants to choke Kimmy. If he said that on this season, oh my God, or if he said that on season 30, oh my God, the world would have fallen down. It would have just been a fire everywhere. Everything would have collapsed. But, you know, he said it in season 2, and it wasn't that big of a deal. I mean, Willie does it all the time. He'll just be like, look, here's another one, here's another one, here's another. And it's like, it happens all the time. Dan Foley is super overhated. Definitely was a little bit of an ass on the season. He's an ass. He's an ass. But to say it has to do with domestic violence is absurd. Like, you didn't know Shireen's past. You can't know anyone's past. Just, like, come on. Unbelievable that he gets so much hate. If anything, that should go towards like Will. Yeah, exactly. And right now, Dan's been like a huge he's like big into like this whole like post-Survivor thing. He's on like a bunch of podcasts and stuff. You know, like Dan seems like a good guy who just likes the show. Worst nightmare for him. So yeah, next one. Okay,
Ezekiel Oldring. I think Keith and Wigglesworth are dangerous. Keith because he can spoil a plan. Nice, very nice. And Kelly because no one has her. Does this ring true to you at all? I don't think they are dangerous. I'm sorry. And yeah, Keith might be a jury threat, and he might be dangerous because he's not. Might screw up your plans, but they're not dangerous as threats to win. And I think that's the biggest thing when you talk about a dangerous player. The dangerous players are the ones that can either scheme to get you out, which Keith isn't going to do. He's not going to proactively. He might vote for the wrong person on a vote split, but you got to think you can say Keith, this name, and yeah, you can, now that you know Keith can't stick to plans, you're going to do everything you can to prevent that from happening. So I really don't see any danger with these two players.
No, I don't either. I think Wigglesworth, the only way she's a danger is if somehow she finds herself as a swing vote and she sides against your alliance numbers. But I don't know. I don't think that the show would play her up as the swing vote, to be honest.
All right. Well, that was the last comment. Again, Google has disabled the live comments, so there's nothing we can do there.
Ruining all the fun.
Google. Okay. Yeah. We have there. I mean, I'm just gonna go through this list. I don't really have this in any order, just because I want to read. If you've hit double digits in this game, you deserve a shot. So we got to give it out to everybody really who is in double digits. Well, Phil, you're at 8. You're at 8, yeah. Phil. So you're doing well. I still do have a lot of bets I still can win. I don't know. I have
a lot of 3-pointers too.
Right, exactly. I put heavy points. Steven can get 10 confessionals. If I can hit that, Keith wins an immunity. Tasha becomes a jury member. Then I'm rolling.
Kimmy's not catching a bag of buffs. So
that's not going to happen, unfortunately. But I'm still in it. It's totally a dark horse at this point, though. Okay, so we have Ultra Pulsar at 11. Chocolate 11 Pie at 11. We have Taylor Swift. Like I said, Taylor Swift is a huge fan of ours. She has 10. Alex Crooks has 11. And again, I'm not going in any order here. I'm just going everyone with double digits. AKA Karma Kid has 10. BSB Sue 2 has 10. Henry Alford has 10. Brian Johnson has 12. He's in second place because Aaron Jakes has 13. He's the leader. Paula
really
LaFleur. Yeah, they're really close. Paula LaFleur has 10. And Sarah Christine has 12. She's tied for second. Sarah Harkins has 11. So the Sarahs are doing well. Ho Kwang Wang, I think, has 10. And, yeah, that's it for the double-digit people. It's wide open. I mean, there's still so much to be decided.
I mean, there's 11 players still left in the game, too.
Yeah.
I'm sure once the jury starts getting bigger, people are going to start getting more points. I'm going to get screwed there because I don't have my jury member thing still available. And I put Spencer as getting 10 votes, and I don't think he has any chance to get 10 votes at this point.
Yeah, Savage got 3 or 4 because Sierra tossed 1. So he was under 5. Very few people listed him as a juror. A couple people had Kelly Wentworth playing the idol successfully, like 3 people. And then
Okay.
Keith having an episode title or hashtag, that's where many of the points came from this week. Everyone was pretty much on that. Not everyone, but that was like probably 90% of the points that I gave out scoring for that episode were coming from Keith, because he did have the hashtag with the Totos, and he got the, what was it? Wool, you call Wool Hall?
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know. I hope which is Covet. I mean, I already lost cast. I have Sierra for my hashtag, so I really need Sierra to step up, say something clever. She can do it.
I think she can, especially she's been getting a huge increase right now. So I think she can too.
All right, do we have anything else?
That's it. We'll see you Wednesday.
So MVP went to Kelly. There's no votes to count.
No.
I saw a Jeremy vote, though. I did see a Jeremy vote.
I don't think anybody voted. I think we might have had like 4 votes.
Well, if only one person voted and went to Jeremy, then
no, there was definitely a Wentworth, because the person said Kelly Wentworth, no doubt.
Yeah, because someone told her to play an idol. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Peace.